You're muted, Catherine. There you go.
Looks like you're good to go, Lois.
To show everybody at the same time?
Pardon me?
Lois,
I
you're
only
live.
show 4 people at a time on the top. Is that
Maybe
just
maybe that's
weird?
your, I've got everybody.
I have
You've
everybody.
got everybody.
Yeah. Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Hmm.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Should
11, 12,
check
13.
view and see what it went away.
Okay, I'm going to start to honor those who are here on time. Oh, wait. Clarissa, do you want me to stop?
You're good to go, Lois.
Oh, okay. Welcome to the November meeting of the Salem Public Library Advisory Board. We have a lot to talk about tonight, so if you have a report, I'd like for you to be brief if you can, but still tell us the information. So I'm calling this meeting to order, and let's have the approval of minutes. Were there any additions or corrections? Okay, wait, Catherine?
I have 2 changes under minutes for this with respect to the September minutes. There were a few amendments there, and so I think it needs to say that the minutes be approved as amended.
Okay.
And then down toward about 3/4 of the way down that first page, I think it should say, I spent some time talking about CCRLS funding, and I think it should reflect that. So I have some wording here. The paragraph starting note and report was submitted to the agenda packet for the current meeting. Catherine shared a verbal report on, and then I would delete recent lab chair activities and instead put on research she has started on the Salem Library's share of CCRLS funding, comma, to determine whether our library receives its fair share of funds, period.
All right.
Will
Will
all
you
I've got,
send those to,
unless somebody else has something.
well, will you send those in to Clarissa? That wording,
I can do that.
just to
Yes.
make sure that she got it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anyone else that had anything? Francine? You're muted, Francine.
Sorry.
There you go.
Under the show and tell, I would simply like to say the last sentence, the bag would either be available to patrons or at no cost to them, or to make a contribution, but not for sale.
Okay.
All right.
Would you send that in to Clarissa as well, please,
Right.
Francine?
And then
Thank you.
Gretchen and I were both supposed to meet, contact Amanda, the artist, and we haven't done that, but that should probably be in there, that Gretchen and I were going to do that together.
But wouldn't that be after the decision was made regarding the bags? I don't think a decision was made about the bags.
Okay, probably.
Because actually we have bags at the library.
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And the foundation has just sponsored the group bag, the group book, the book group bag. And that's working really well. Yeah. And
Great.
so book groups have bags for their kits, their group kits.
All righty. So are the bags just for the book groups?
They're specifically for the book groups, yes. But
Okay.
the other bags that are there at the library now are from before. Kim can actually address
so
that.
we had oodles of summer reading bags that we hadn't given away, so we thought this would be a nice time to give them away, and we're still giving bags out to anybody who wants one.
Okay. Okay, any other corrections to the minutes? All right, so let's have a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I move that we approve the minutes as amended.
All right, is there a second?
Second it.
All right, I'll take Steve because he's on my top row. All in favor say aye or give a thumbs up.
Aye.
Woo-hoo. All right, any opposed? All right, we've approved the minutes. Yay, one item down. Without objection, I would like to add 2 items to the agenda. One would be under discussion items, under wild ideas, let's just say branch libraries. And under action items, approval of 2022 calendar. So is there any objection? No. Okay. Moving on. We did get some public comment, and I would like to read that because it was sent in the form of a letter, and I will read that briefly.
I'm going to share my screen too if people want to read it as well.
Pardon me?
I'll be sharing my screen as well, so it'll be available too.
Oh, Clarissa, why don't you just do that?
Okay, one sec.
This is from Jim Shepke, a member of the community. Here it is. So should I speed read it? No, everybody can read it. Da da da. They refer. Da, da, la, la, la. Oh, should I read it for the like audio? Somebody.
Why don't you?
Okay. Dear Salem Public Library Advisory Board, at their meeting on October 25th, the Salem City Council unanimously approved a recommendation from their Finance Committee to move forward to plan a $300 million board measure for the November 8th, 2022 general election ballot. Mayor Bennett will lead a council subcommittee that consists of Councilors Hoy, Lewis, Gonzalez, and Stapleton to plan for the capital projects to be included in the bond measure. The city will hire a consulting firm to lead a public engagement process beginning in December that will culminate in a council work session next March to finalize the list of projects to be included in the bond measure. This bond measure is intended to fund all highest priority projects needed in Salem in the next decade. That's 10 years, folks. The Finance Committee has already suggested projects in broad categories that might be included in the measure. They include streets, bridges, and sidewalks, 150 million, parks and recreation, 35 million, city hall renovation, 12 million, affordable housing and sheltering, 15 million, fire trucks and new fire station property, 40 million, and information technology, $15. Unfortunately, that's a typo. Unfortunately, the preliminary list does not include branch libraries. I hope I don't need to convince the Library Advisory Board of the desperate need we have had for many years for branch libraries to equitably serve our growing city. Too many children in Salem live many miles from a library and are growing up without books in their homes. As a result, statistics from the Salem County School District show that only 37% of third grade students are able to pass the reading proficiency test. This is 10 percentage points lower than the state average. I believe a big reason for this is the lack of branch libraries in our city. The city's strategic priorities, unquote, included in the 2021 community report acknowledged the need for branch libraries in the category of increasing equitable delivery of city services. It truly is an equity issue when you consider that the 2 libraries we have are proximate to 2 of the highest income neighborhoods in the city. I urge the Library Advisory Board to strongly advocate for branch libraries to be included among the 2022 bond measure projects so that at least 2 branch libraries can be established in Salem in the next decade. Thank you for your service. All righty. That is the public comment. Thank you, Jim, for the comment. We will go on to information items. Teen Advisory Board. Who do we have from the teen board today?
I'm Katie Manis. I use she, her pronouns. I'm an 11th grader at Summit Learning Charter, and I'm taking early college classes through Portland Community College. So we have the Take What You Need project. It's going really well. We are continuing to offer personal care items in clear pocket holders in the floor 1 bathrooms at the main library. Some items are taken and used each day. The most used item in the moment includes lip balm, deodorant, Tic Tacs, and socks. Community support for the project has also been strong. We have received about 25 donated packages through the Amazon wish list and in the parcel drop located in the teen scene. We are well supplied with sanitary products, lip balm, toothbrushes, and toothpaste, hand warmers, and mittens as we head into winter. One family posted on Facebook that they brought items from the wish list as part of celebrating their daughter's 17th birthday, as well as we are also supporting the return of the virtual teen programming, including a game night in October, and some members of TAB are also going to be part of the Teen National Novel Writing Month, which we are hosting activities for through November. And then TAB members are writing scripts and making sock puppets as we continue towards a goal of creating a short film for the national 90-second Newbery contest. And then later in November, we will be helping put together book giveaway bags for the 2022 Salem Reads program. The book giveaway is coming up on December 8th. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Katie. Good job. Any questions for Katie? All right. Oh wait, Francine, Catherine.
Not a question, just a comment. I think it's just terrific that you're asking for and getting donations. No reason why the community as a whole shouldn't participate in this great project.
All right. All right. Chair's report. I have a few items quickly. Since it's the month for gratitude, I want to thank all of you for being on this board and all the work you do or work you don't do. And thank you particularly to Catherine, who is my cohort, and to Kim, and to Sarah in her absence, but she was a great support for me. The other thing I wanted to say is I got an email from the director of the Salem Public Library Foundation, and they were very happy to receive our $5,000 donation. They said that they felt very supported because we're sort of this, trifecta, the Friends, the foundation, and the Library Advisory Board to promote the library and advocate for things for the library. Also, I'm hoping that we will have some input, Norm, into when we start to hire a new librarian, city librarian. I don't know if there'll be a committee or what. Norm, is this the time you would like to talk, or you want to talk some other time?
Oh no, this is just fine,
Okay,
Lois.
that's the end of my report.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, thank you. So for those who may not know, Lois and I had a brief email exchange last week following the announcement of Sarah's resignation. Her last day was on Friday the 5th, and as I think I stated in an email to Lab as well as to the other boards and commissions, we're grateful for our time here with the city. And as we look ahead at what is to come, yes, at some point in the near future, we'll begin a process for recruiting a new city librarian. As we get into that process, I fully expect that this board will have a part to play in the recruitment itself. I don't know if anyone was a part of this body when we recruited Sarah, but one thing we did, okay, Lois, good. I'm glad
I think
you-
Francine too.
Excellent,
No,
excellent.
no.
Okay,
never mind.
well, Lois, you may remember, and for everyone else, I want you to know that when we did our last recruitment, we had what was effectively a community event. There was a presentation provided by our candidates. There were multiple interview panels, one of which was of staff, one of which was of community members, which would include a lab representative, and another that included myself and a couple of other individuals, here at the city that serve in the more executive roles. So there will absolutely be an exchange here where you all will play a part in getting to know the candidates as they come, and also getting to experience them in some shape or form, be it with a presentation, let's say, or perhaps with an interview panel itself. So there's a lot more to formulate, and of course, right now is not exactly the best time to recruit a new city librarian. We're coming upon the holidays, so I expect that we really won't start to see plans coalesce until January of 2022. But for the time being, this is definitely our intention. You all will definitely be a part of it. We'll definitely keep you apprised as we go. For the remainder of time between now and until the new city librarian is selected, Kimberly Carroll will continue to serve as our interim. She's doing a magnificent job, and we're going to continue to focus on our reopening and doing all the other things necessary to keep this library moving forward as best we can, again, in this interim period. So that's the long and short of where we are right now when it comes to the city librarian position. Again, we're grateful for Sarah and for the work that she's done. So I'm here. I volunteered to be here to answer any questions anyone may have. So Lois, I don't know if this is a good time for that, but I'm happy to answer anything or take any comments that anyone has.
Anybody have any questions for Norm? Steve, go ahead.
Are you saying that you're going to make no attempt to advertise it until January?
We may advertise it before January, but it's all going to be a matter of making sure that whatever we do is just the best time possible, and then we get everything clear in the advertisement itself. There are some things that I want to make sure that we address in the advertisement that will be fitting for the next candidate that we want to see. So some of that could include input, especially from our staff. Some of it may include, of course, the work that we're going to be doing in the coming year for the strategic plan. So I want to get the advertisement right for all the things that we know are going to come ahead in the near term, so that we can help a candidate understand just what the expectations or the needs are. But I imagine we can probably get that done probably by the end of this month, and then perhaps advertise next month. But can't commit to that just yet. But I could see us probably advertising potentially next month, and then if we're lucky, we get good candidates and start to have interviews in February.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope you can get it. Do it right, but
Right.
we really need to get this done. It's kind of holding some things up, and even if we can just get the ad out in December and start setting things up, I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah. One other thing we're sensitive to, Mr. Rosen, is that December is just not a great time, in terms of recruiting candidates. There are some who just won't be as interested, right, because of the holidays or any other number of reasons. So the one thing that I definitely want to make sure of as well is that when we do advertise, that it's at a good time, that we then don't have to re-advertise. There's something about a re-advertiser that can be concerning too, that I want to avoid. So timing will still be sensitive, but I share the urgency. I absolutely do. We'll find a way.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Anyone else? I did have some questions about Sarah's resignation. Is there anything else that you can tell us about that?
Yeah, there really isn't. I think the best that I can say is that it was her decision. And so with full respect to her and to her wishes and all of that, we certainly accepted it and have celebrated again the time that she spent with us. So whatever her reasons, they are her own. We respect that and wish her all the best. I know that leaves it ambiguous, but that ambiguity, I share it. So that is what it is.
All right, thanks, Norm. I
You're
would
welcome.
like to say that just in regards to the city librarian position, I think it would be really wonderful if we had somebody on the interview team. We will be doing the strategic plan. We have 2 members from Lab on the steering committee for the strategic plan. We are the policy, people that recommend to the city council. So it'd be nice to hear some answers, from an interview person or people. So I'm just making a plug for that.
Oh, absolutely. And there's going to be a question, at least one, that's going to involve a candidate's ability to think about how they would build relationships with the library advisory board. And so I think that would be a great question to be asked by a lab member. Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Norm.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Certainly.
Kim, do you have anything to say? Is this your show and tell time?
Yeah, I have the city librarians report.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll just kind of go through it quickly. 2 of our staff had babies at the end of October, so we're very excited. And they were actually, I guess, in the hospital together, which is kind of crazy. But so we're super excited about having more little library babies in the world. So that's exciting. We did this week. We started Tuesdays being open 11 to 6. We've gotten rid of all of our browsing appointments, so we're just having people walk in. So now we're actually open Tuesday through Saturdays, 11 to 6, and then Sundays for curbside. So we're gradually expanding our services. Next week, we'll also be interviewing for 6.5 senior library assistants. So we're hoping to get people on board and trained, and hopefully by the new year, we'll have them up to speed with everything. Our people are loving the library. We just have heard lots of positive feedback. People love the automatic machine handle, the materials handle. They like to watch in the window how it sorts the books. And then for our collections, we did get an extension on our Library of Things grant. So it's $43,000 about that we're spending on a Library of Things. And we've already done a survey in the spring, got some ideas. We put together a spreadsheet, and now we're just in the process of looking at the things that we will start with purchasing. So some of the things that people have mentioned are sewing machines, telescopes, those kind of things. So it's very exciting. We have different groups of stuff. So we have entertainment things. So you'd have maybe a bouncy house or a ping pong table. We have electronics. So maybe you'd have a drone, or you'd have a converter to convert VHS to digital, those kind of things. So we have different categories, and we're looking at getting those things purchased in the next few months. We got a 6-month extension. So we really want to start the process and get those things added to our collection. And then we're also going to start with 3 cultural passes from 3 local places, and hope to get those added here soon too. And then the special projects, I think Tab spoke to those already. We did give out some with the ARPA grant. We did some take and make crafts for Dia de los Niños. We had sugar skulls, and those were so popular. And then we also had some memory frames, photo frames, and all of them went on the weekend of Halloween weekend. So we were pretty happy about that too. So.
All right.
I'd
Question?
like, I'd like to compliment Kim on how when you walk into the library, you feel welcomed. You are greeted by either Kim or a staff person who answers your questions, makes sure you can have a mask, all of that. And that's where the bags are.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
I spend a lot of time recently at the library. And I've had my son, who is a school administrator, came down to visit, and he kept referring to how welcoming, and it's a space where you want to spend time, which I thought was right on.
Yes.
But my compliments to Kim and the staff.
Oh, thank you. The staff has been wonderful. We're trying out new things. We think we're going to keep that greeter role as a role like we did it originally because, kind of because of COVID reasons. And but now we're seeing that this is a really good role to have and to have somebody like kind of assigned that's their customer service position for a few hours each day is one of the things we're going to continue.
And which also with the automatic check-in, it's great to see the kids, and the greeter can kind of help the mother or parent address, the child so that they can go to the window and watch the books come in or go in, I should say.
Yeah, that's been pretty fun.
Go ahead, Francine.
I was curious where the cultural passes are to.
There are going to be 3 local places. One is the Gilbert. We're looking to see if they're open, but it's the Gilbert Museum, and I can't remember the other 2. But they're all the local places here. We're going to start out with the local ones because they're local, and we were first going to check and make sure the locations are open. And then it's like the Children's Museum and I think another museum. And then they're at the Heritage House. Sorry, I'm not from Salem. So I'm not as familiar with the local areas as I should be, but I will get there.
Kim, can I help?
Yeah.
It's Missionville Museum, which is now the Willamette Heritage Center, the Gilbert House, and the Hallie Brown Ford Museum.
Thank you. Thank you.
Steve, did you have something?
Yeah, I'm wondering what you think or feel about filling the role for possibly 5 more months of librarian, of the full librarian. It kind of puts you. That was one of the reasons I asked the question to Norm. It's there is to me a little basic unfairness about this, maybe. So I'm just wondering where you're at with that.
No, I feel really good about being here at this time. And, I've always gone into leadership roles because I care about what libraries do, but I also care about the people that work in libraries and how they fulfill that role and supporting them. So I feel really humbled to be in this role. And it isn't as though like anytime, you get an opportunity for learning, it's something to embrace, right?
If I
There's
can
been-
add on to that too, sorry,
Oh, yeah.
if I may, Steve, I just want you to know that I felt the same concern as well that you're expressing. And there's actually something of a luxury of time that we have because of what Kimberly's already able to do with staff and with the service that gives us an opportunity to be a little more patient as well. So not only do we have, a tricky time of year to have to navigate, but we also thankfully have some very steady leadership from her that can also help us give a little more time too. So I had that same concern, but Kim has really been rock solid. And I say that not for myself, but from the staff, particularly with some service challenges that we've had. So I appreciate you asking that question too. Just want you to know.
The other question is how, I mean, it's been an incredibly hectic time for the library, especially recently. How is the staff, I mean, what kind of attention is being paid to staff self-care, morale, that sort of thing?
So we're doing additional trainings. We're giving, if there's a difficult customer interaction, we're encouraging staff to take a break off the service desk. We're asking staff what they need to feel supported. So, and we're listening to those things and implementing those things. It's a learning curve for all of us to be working in library services during this time, and then to have kind of this great experience of opening this main branch that looks amazing, and then to also have a pandemic going on. So we want to make sure that, as we add services, we want to make sure that people feel confident in providing those services so that they do feel supported. So that's kind of where we're at as far as the staff goes. So we're really listening. We're trying to build that into our service and how we support each other every day.
Great. Okay, thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? All right. Thanks, Kim, for being on board. Catherine and I have met with her already several times, and she's stepping into the shoes of the city librarian, as she has to right now. So kudos, Kim. You're doing well.
Thank you.
Friends of Library, Carol, you have anything to report or not? Carol?
Sorry.
That's all right.
I was having trouble finding myself. Let's see, do I have anything to report? I think that I'd given you guys all of our new news last time. We have 5 new board members. They all seem to be totally terrific. Tomorrow, we're going to be forming some committees and getting some projects going with our new help. And Jeannie's teaching everybody how to box books. So that's going well. I think that's pretty much it. We're carrying on, but right at the moment, we're really happy about where the board is. And according to our bylaws, we should be 11. So we still have a couple of slots to fill, but it doesn't feel nearly so pressing as it did. I really, for a while there, I was feeling like, whoa, the Friends. But that seems to be past, and we're doing well. So thank you.
All right, Carol. Any questions? All right, Salem the foundation report. Gretchen, do you have anything?
Well, you've covered a lot of it in terms of what we've been doing. And I wanted to thank you for the $5,000. And with the library of things, all of these things that we've been involved in. And so you've pretty much covered the things that I was going to say. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, if you don't think about making a donation to the Friends, they do a lot of cool stuff. They really do. They do a lot of stuff that nobody even realizes.
Foundation, you mean?
What? Oh, what did I say?
Friends.
Oh.
You can donate.
You can give to the Friends. You can give to the foundation. You can even give to the lab.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay, Denise, did you want to say anything about the article that you put up? And I think it was kind of hard to read, but what was sort of the gist of it?
You know, I did not realize that I was going to be called on for this, so I am trying to look like I'm intelligent here. And
I think you are.
Thank you for your vote of confidence. So basically, I was very concerned about the Time magazine article that indicates that large corporate publishers are suing to streamline materials so that they get to determine what libraries can and cannot produce of their materials in terms of ebooks and digital books. And that's a big deal to me because I'm really into audiobooks and e-material. And it's very concerning that they are going to reduce the role of the library and librarians to being merely shuffling what they indicate can be available to the public. And this is a very concerning thing. I see that in Maryland, they unanimously voted in a trial against the publishing companies and indicated that they have to still make their material available at a reasonable cost. They're trying to increase the cost so that it's off the roof and unattainable for libraries. And that's a very serious situation there. We want everyone happy.
Yeah.
Since I've got the floor, I'm going to make a plug for Catherine Davis. Thank you for giving us these binders. That was very generous of your time and all. This is going to be really handy to us, Catherine. Thank you. Any questions about the library? You all have the article, I think. Is that right? Do you need me to resend it if it's hard to send, to read?
Did
I don't remember
anybody,
getting it.
it came in the packet,
It's
I
in the
believe, too.
Oh, is that right?
That's where I got it. Did anybody get this? Did anybody get it?
I saw it in the packet.
Okay. Was it okay to read, Sarah?
There was something written over the top of the page, but you could decipher it if you, as readers, we can decipher it.
Okay. Well, I wondered if Kim had anything she could add. Do you know about this dilemma happening with publishers and libraries? You probably do. And is there anything like we can do about it?
So this has been an ongoing challenge, and it was really revving up before COVID. And then there was a lot of activism from American Library Association, librarians, and just the public about, keeping e-resources affordable and accessible, and not just like some e-resources, but all of them. And then when COVID happened, publishers kind of backed away from this. But now I think when we're coming out of COVID, we're going to experience more and more of these restrictions being being snuck back in. But it's definitely on the radar of the American Library Association. Definitely there's petitions, there's legal people working on it, and it's not new, and it was really before the pandemic hit, it was really looking like publishers were going to be able to do some really restrictive things, but then they kind of backed off of that once COVID hit, because there was such a demand for electronic resources, right?
Right.
And it would look like they were taking advantage had they pursued what their intention was.
Well, Kim, if there's anything brewing or petitions to circulate or something, would you let us know? Because that could be something we could bring to the community.
Yeah. I'm sure it will. That kind of thing will rise to the top here soon, right? As we get out, as we open buildings and that kind of thing. So for sure, I'll let you know anything I comes across my desk.
Okay. Denise, thanks for bringing that to our attention. Catherine?
I agree with Denise. That just is so alarming and so antithetical to everything a library stands for.
Mhm.
Just really shocking. So yeah, let's make sure we stay informed on that, if you would, Kim, and let us know if there's anything we can do.
Yes. Unfortunately, publishers don't always stand for the same things that libraries stand for, right?
Yeah.
Not good. All right. Michelle Teed is our attorney, and she is going to give us, I believe, a presentation about ethics. Is that right, Michelle? Well,
Yes.
welcome, and take it away.
Thank you. And I think Clarissa is going to give me control of our meeting so I can show you my presentation.
You're good to go.
All right. So can folks see that? I can't see you. I can just see my own screen. So are you seeing a slideshow there?
You'll want to share your screen. So you'll want to click on the green button at the bottom with the arrows, with the square with the arrow on it.
Okay. Oh, sorry about that. There we go. Okay, let's try that. All right, there we go. So Chair Stark, members of the board, guests, thank you for having me. I'm going to work through this quickly out of respect for our schedule. Before I get started, it occurred to me I could summarize what we're going to talk about in 3 points. 1, please don't accept gifts of more than $50 in 1 year. Secondly, if a transaction is going to benefit you, a family member, or a housemate, please either do not engage or disclose it. And then finally, when you are showing your enthusiasm for the library, which is awesome and diverse and energetic, I'm going to ask you to please think about where to bridge the activities from the board to staff. So let's get started. So I'm going to talk about ethics tonight. This is a training we all try to give to our boards and commissions on a regular basis. Here we go. The role of the city attorney's office, we cannot give you specific advice about ethics issues. This is because ethics are governed by the Oregon Government Ethics Commission. We can give you guidance. We can suggest certain activities, certain things to be aware of, but just know we are not the definitive arbiter on this type of thing. The OGEC is, and sometimes we might refer you to them for an opinion. For public officials, which includes all members of the board, I know you know this, but please really take to heart that your role on the board involves public trust, and that trust requires compliance with the ethics rules that apply to public officials. And your loyalty to the city and to the board should follow the highest ethical standards. And I don't have any doubt that that is your intent, and that's where we'll end up. Public official is anyone who serves on a public body, which is all of the members of the board. This is true regardless of whether you're compensated or not. And ethics for public officials really relates to use of an official position. So you can see here that members of a public body may not use or attempt to use their position for financial objectives that benefits themselves, their family, etc. The exception here is if any potential benefit is available to any member of the public, that obviously is carved out. Relatives include spouse, children, brothers and sisters, parents, and those who receive or provide benefits to the public official, which is you, members of the board. During a calendar year, and this is a comment on gifts. So as board members, the regulation is limited to gifts of $50, under $50 in a calendar year from a single source. And you'll see here the language that could reasonably be known to have, if the gift is offered from someone who could reasonably be known to have an interest in matters decided by the public official. There are exceptions to this. To the gifts, exceptions are things like plaques, greeting cards, trophies, things like that. Conflicts of interest, please just be aware that there are both actual conflicts of interest and potential conflicts of interest. And how those are treated depends on if it's a potential or actual conflict of interest. An exemption here is, of course, if a decision or an action would affect a group of people in the same way, then that would not be a conflict of interest. An actual conflict of interest is any action or recommendation that would result in a benefit or detriment to yourself, a family member, or a business with which you are affiliated or associated. If there is an actual conflict of interest, you would need to announce your conflict and abstain from participating in the decision-making. A potential conflict of interest occurs when the recommendation could result in a benefit or detriment to yourself, your family member, or business that you're associated with. If there's only a potential conflict, please announce the conflict. You may participate in the decision-making. The Salem Charter, which is sort of the constitution for the city, if you will, talks about ethical standards for decision-making. Got some requirements there for you to think about. Again, related to financial benefits. We talked about gifts, exceptions to gifts, $50 aggregate in each year, and what could be an improper use of office. And again, I just want to reiterate that this is a training that all of us in the city attorney's office offer to our boards and commissions every year as our standard practice. So I'm not here tonight because I'm concerned that any of you might be doing this. This is just standard course of business for us. Just reminding you, please don't use or attempt to use your position to obtain a benefit for yourself or your family. Keep in mind that consequences for failing to disclose a conflict can be serious. It can include fines, reprimands, civil penalties, removal from office, etc. Takeaways. Please remember that this is your primary responsibility. And I really enjoy attending meetings, and I'm always happy to try to answer questions and point you in the right direction. But this is something you should take to heart. And remember, in this category, forgiveness is not easier than forgiveness is not easier than obtaining permission. I want to shift gears now to talk about the scope of authority of the board. And this part of our conversation is around what the board may do as the board. And I completely understand being involved with an entity, with a city that you feel strongly about, that's important to you, and that is important to the community. One thing I'd like to start with is just to highlight that with respect to individuals in their private capacity and private businesses to a large extent, generally speaking, those folks can do what they would like to do unless there's a law against it. With respect to public bodies, the reverse is true. Public bodies may do only what they have authority to do. The source of authority, what I call organic authority for City of Salem bodies, is the city charter, which does not reference the Library Advisory Board, the Salem Revised Code, and the bylaws. So when we look at the Salem Revised Code, Chapter 18 talks about the Library Advisory Board. The sections here are referenced talking about making annual reports to the state library and the council. And then the Salem Revised Code is very clear that the board has certain enumerated abilities, powers, authority, etc. Recommending to council rules and policies, preparing budget requests, designating the use or expenditure of certain funds, and then also making recommendations regarding physical sites related to the public library. Also accepting donations in the name of the city. One of the lesser known provisions related to boards and commissions is there are several sections in the Salem Revised Code, Chapter 2, talks about the authority of boards and commissions. So again, here it's reiterated, unless there is authority granted to the board or commission, the authority is limited to what is set out in the Salem Revised Code or in other places. There are certain tasks among boards and commissions that are correct or properly assigned to the board or commission based on the Salem Revised Code. And some tasks are correct for staff. And that's where staff can do research, pull information together, write reports, and assist and support both the library and the board in efforts going forward. So this is one of the code sections that talks about use of staff time. So when there's an idea that you have that requires research, probably requires some sort of management input, guidance to staff, direction from within the library, this is a code section that would apply. And I would strongly encourage you to work with Kim and whoever succeeds Sarah or Kim as our librarian in terms of what the board needs and would like to see happen in terms of the library. We talked about scope. The bylaws for the Library Advisory Board reiterate essentially the Salem Revised Code. So that's should be familiar now. And that's the end of the presentation. I'd be happy to answer questions. And I also believe that Kim or Clarissa may be contemplating sending this out to folks. And I'll leave that to Kim's decision. And I'm also happy to field questions down the road, whether it's at a meeting or individually.
Thanks, Michelle.
All right. Well, thank you for the opportunity to share that. I really enjoy being assigned to the Library Advisory Board, and I appreciate the enthusiasm. I learn a lot when I'm at these meetings, and I feel like this is a very productive and energetic group. So thank you.
Well, we are the coolest board in the city. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
Andy.
All right. Should we go on? Or that was pretty self-explanatory, you know, kind of like, I didn't even know I could take $50. So if anybody wants to give me that, that's fine. Okay, the statistical report is Christopher here?
Christopher is not here. He wasn't able to make it. I have the statistical report. I will say the way the report is now filed, it doesn't show you when you file it the previous year like it used to. That's why it looks different this time. I can give you just, I can give you highlights and answer questions, but our print circulation decreased by 83%. We know this is all COVID related and the move related to and closing down the library and putting some of our collection, shadowing it so it couldn't be collected. So a lot of things are going on. So this report doesn't accurately reflect what a normal year would look like. We did the search of our e-content on all platforms. So we have, we have Canopy, we have Cloud Library, that went up 13%. And the Cloud Library, which is exclusively for Salem residents, went up 37%. We increased our purchases of physical items by 4% and e-content by 16%. Those were some of the highlights that Christopher sent me for the report. Do you have any questions about like anything you see in the report that I can try my best to answer?
Go ahead, Catherine.
Is it possible for us to get, for lab members to get the traditional 6 or 7 page report that we normally get?
Yeah, I think we can do that. I'll just have to see what, I kind of saw just a picture, I think, of so this is the report we submit to the state. And so I don't know, is the report that you get different than that historically? It is, okay.
Well, it's 6 or 7 pages with 2 columns for the current fiscal year and then the previous one. And I think Chris knows how to do it. But we've been getting them steadily this time every year in that format, and it's very readable.
So the reason this one doesn't have the previous years is because he submits it and then he prints out what he submitted, and they no longer do the previous year in the submittal process this time, but we can get the past year that we submitted last year and format it differently so it has both.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
That's really helpful because in the past, those of, for people who like to read that kind of stuff, you could see, did the volunteer hours go down? Did they go up? I know this year is going to be wonky though because of COVID and last year.
Yes.
But yeah, if we could get something a little bit more readable, that'd be great. But we don't have it now, so I don't know. Was there anything that stood out to people and when they read the statistical report? To be honest, I didn't really look at it because it had so much stuff that I didn't know what to really focus on. Anyway.
Yeah, I think we can work on a better format that's more readable.
Okay.
Maybe even some graphs and stuff.
Oh, graphs would be great. Well, plus Christopher is so cool to talk to. I kind of wish he was here. Not that we don't love you, but yeah. Well, I think we'll move on. Unless anybody objects. So Public Library Association Conference, that is happening in March in 2022 up in Portland. I have found that it costs $21 for someone from our board to be a member of the Oregon Library Association, which would then get you a discount to attend the conference. So first of all, let me know if you think you might want to attend the conference or even a day of the conference. It's March 22nd to the 26th, but I think that includes an opening day and other stuff. So I think it's maybe the 23rd, 24th, 25th kind of thing. If you'd like to go, we could vote as that lab would cover your registration and your membership to the Oregon Library Association at $21. I think it'd be kind of cool because there would be a lot of, people from all over the country that are in libraries or trustees or on boards, and lots of new ideas. I'm thinking of going to at least one day. So just, yeah, Steve.
Is there any, I'd love to go, but that is 100 years from now in my life. So is there any, can we make this commitment, like a few weeks ahead or a month ahead, or is there any time?
Well, you can get a quite substantial discount if you register. I think it's by January 2nd. Is that
okay?
So, there is that consideration. But yeah, I know it's hard to know that far ahead what is going to be in your life.
And what's the cost besides the $21?
Do you know, Kim? Isn't it? It's not cheap. It's like $400 or $500 or something.
Yeah, let me look really quickly. There's because you could check into to see if they have a refund policy, because a lot of these conferences have had refund policies because of COVID and changing situations, and so they're pretty fluid on that refund policy. So I'm sure they have that on the PLA website someplace.
So Chair Stark, if I may jump in, I do want to put a marker down that I think there may be a question about whether funds are properly expended for those purposes. So perhaps Kimberly could have a staff person look into that and provide feedback.
Catherine?
Yes, but there's also the question of hotel costs, and whether that would be something that we would want lab also to potentially pay for. That should be one of the questions I think maybe Kim can look into, or whoever is going to look into it.
And Michelle, are you saying that maybe the funds that the lab funds could not be used for this purpose?
It's just a question. We do have a financial, Chair Stark, sorry. We have a financial analyst assigned to us from the fiscal department. So we would want to.
Who is that person?
Please don't call him. That is what staff should do for you. No, you could absolutely call him. I'm just suggesting that this is a good task for staff to assist the board with. And so we would ask, I think an efficient path here is for a staff person to check in, make sure that this is an approved use of funds, and then provide feedback to the board.
Okay.
I'm not seeing the next year's, but looking at last year's conference, looks like if 5 people, there's a group discount registration. That it's a group discount registration, 5 people, $200.
Oh,
I don't know if that's 200 per person or no, I'm not.
It would probably be per person.
Per person. So
Yeah.
if 5 people, no, this doesn't make sense. I don't know. We'll have to get some more information, because this looks like group discount. If there are 10 people, it's 400. That doesn't make well, and if we can get 500, then it's only $3,500 each. If that's so, it's got to be something different. We'll get more information for next, maybe. Yeah, Catherine.
Lois and Kim, I think it would be fair to characterize attendance at this conference as training. And when you talk to staff, financial staff about whether this is an appropriate expenditure of lab funds. Wouldn't you call this training? Training.
That I would.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like it's,
Yeah.
you know, it's training, it's empowering the board, it's giving them ideas, it's energizing, it's information, it's sharing with other groups, you know, stuff we've done. We want to know what they've done. But I think that it sounds like the first step is to find out if that would be a way to use our funds. So are you saying, Michelle, that I can't do that, that I should have staff do that? And do you do that, or Kim, or who?
Thank you, Chair Stark. My recommendation is that Kim has a staff person work on that. This is a question and an action item appropriately assigned to staff, as opposed to, you know, I realize we just breezed through the responsibilities and authority of the board, but candidly, the staff should be supporting you. And this is a good question, and it's good for all of us to drill down on that. So that would be my suggestion, and I think Kim is amenable to that.
Kim, you're okay. So let's figure that out, and then we can put that out in an email, like, yes, we can do that. And then I will research it, like if it's better to buy like a group rate or something like that. I was kind of thinking, Catherine, that, I mean, it is close enough we could drive up and back and not have to get a room. Especially if you only go for a day or something. And so that would be less expensive. And it would be nice if we could somehow see what like what presentations there are on what days, but we probably get that after we register.
Yeah, the schedule sometimes doesn't get out as fast as you'd like it to, especially if you're choosing which day you want to go. What I'm seeing is that if you register by January 7th and you're an OLA member, for the whole conference, it's $330. And then for a single day, it's if you're an OLA member and you register and it's received by February 18th, it's $295 for single day.
They might as well go for the whole time.
They try to make it better to encourage for the whole. Yeah, it's usually a better bargain, I guess.
Yeah. Well, one of my personal goals for the board is, to increase our knowledge. I think it would be great if some of us could go together. That way we make personal connections, and I think personal connections are always good, because then you feel better about coming to a meeting. It's not just some group of people. So we'll get approval. If we have to, I'll appeal it, because I don't know why they couldn't cover this personally. It seems like a great use of money. And let's go on to fines, unless anybody else has anything else to say. Okay, fines. I put this on the agenda because it was brought up last time, and I think it is a great thing to be talking about. Many libraries, like Francine did some research, many libraries are going this way. There's questions about it. There's pros and cons. And as I understand it, Kim, correct me if I'm wrong, you're going to bring a presentation to the January meeting that will, encompass all of this. And so is that right?
Yes. I will bring a presentation to the January meeting.
And then I think maybe at that point we could, perhaps pass some kind of, motion in whatever way we want. Is that right, Steve?
Will the presentation include a recommendation from staff?
Kim?
I mean, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, there
good.
will be a recommendation.
Oh, I mean, can I do that? I don't know, actually. If I can, yes, I will.
I don't know.
Something.
That would be, that would be helpful.
I mean,
But
I will
just-
present all the information that I have that, and it's coming from,
Mhm.
libraries that have gone fine free and what they've found and what the challenges are and what we would face as well as challenges, as well as the benefits of going fine free.
Mhm.
And then you can decide on what you think you'd like to, how you'd like to move forward.
But at some point you could sort of wink or something that would give us your opinion.
Well, I think you could probably guess what a librarian would want to, well, that's
You can
conjecture.
give input
Anyway.
once,
Look forward to it.
Is that all right with everybody? Thumbs up? Wait till January? Okay, all right. Wild ideas. I think we're going to vote on some of like the top 3 wild ideas that you like, with the idea that they would not be specifically in a strategic plan, but there would be things that we would like to see happen and sort of promote. Did everybody get the list of, they're called Ingenuity in Libraries, and there's 2 pages and they're numbered so to 10, and then the next one starts 1 again, but just put a 1 in front of it. The second page, it says more wild ideas. And then there was another one added, number 20 would be seed catalog, which would be you could borrow seeds, not borrow seeds, you share seeds. Can't dig them up. I guess you could. And 21 is like human checkouts, like you would be able to talk to somebody, and of a different culture, or somebody that is an architect and you want to talk about architecture. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to kind of vote on the 3 that you want. Catherine.
So why don't we go person by person?
Yeah, right.
Give me the 3, and I'll check, I'll keep a note of which ones get the highest marks.
Okay, I'm just trying to gauge whether people actually had the time or did their research and picked out their 3. If you, I mean, be honest, folks.
I have not.
Okay, thank you, Steve, for your honesty. Denise.
I would like to ask about the branch library. So I'm kind of thrilled about the idea of the vending machines, but they're not mutually exclusive. So I'm thinking the branch library, if we proceed with creating a brick and mortar branch library in North Salem, then the whole idea of those vending machines would be useless to us. How sure are we, or that we can proceed with the branch library? Because if not, these vending boxes make a lot of sense. And that's what I don't know before I vote on that. Can you answer that, please?
I get that.
Okay, good.
No, because I thought the same thing. I thought that the vending machine sounded like a good idea, but if we could possibly get a branch or 2 library then that wouldn't be as necessary. But I would say vote. We don't know if we're going to get the branch. I mean, that for one thing, it's up to the voters whether they pass the bond, and then also whether it would be in the bond is a question. So I would say, you know, vote thinking that we're not going to get the branches. Also, is it a good idea to wait for this until January? Gretchen?
I would like to wait till January because I don't know if everybody's actually been in the library to see what is going on there now and what exists there now.
Okay.
And I think that board members need to do their research before there's any voting on anything.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I think to have an informed vote, it sounds like maybe we should wait till January, and you will have 2 whole months to look at these and debate within yourself and meditate and whatever you need to do to come up with the perfect answer. And we'll do this in January. We'll be short and sweet, just vote for your 3 and done. All right.
We could even send in our votes.
You could even send in your vote.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that would save time. I love it. All right, Catherine.
Yeah. So we might, if we wait till the January meeting, we might actually have a little more information about how likely branch libraries are to get into the bond.
Mm.
We had some smart people here. Yes. Okay. Great.
Chair Stark, may I comment?
You may comment.
Thank you. There is a work session on November 15th, which I believe is going to talk about items for the bond. I would encourage the board to follow along with work sessions as well as council meetings. My concern is that sometimes deciding what goes into the bond could come earlier rather than later. So just consider that, and it is within the board's authority to make recommendations with respect to sites for the library and remote locations goods. So you're familiar with that. And then secondly, I would caution against sending in votes for certain items, because that looks like a serial public meeting. So just be cognizant of acting by virtue of email and the fact that that could be considered a public meeting, which would not have been noticed. So just a word of caution there.
Okay. I like serial meetings because Cheerios, sugar pops, all that. Never mind.
I understand.
An attempt at levity.
Catherine and I can go out and look for old card catalog box or cabinets.
Yeah. That would be good. Michelle, or do you want me to call you Ms. Teed, or is Michelle okay, or what do you prefer?
Michelle's fine. I also answer to Rachel and Wendy, or basically.
Oh my goodness.
I've been called all those things. Megan, I've been called Megan.
Well, I want to call you the right name. So
that's kind.
Do you know this November 15th work session, is that going to be on Zoom? And can you send information?
I believe it will be on YouTube, as the council sessions and other work sessions are currently carried. My caution is just that the folks working on what's going to go into the bond are currently really putting their heads together. And my concern is that January might be too late.
And right, so at this work session, will they be taking input from the audience, so to speak?
I don't know that they will be, but it will be a chance for you to hear what they're thinking about and the direction they are leaning. And then my suggestion would be you, together with Kimberly and myself, we can put our heads together about how the Library Advisory Board could provide input. I am aware of city staff who are working on this, and then there will be a handful of counselors assigned to moving this forward. So I'd say just listen, it's 4 days from now or 5 days from now, show up, listen, and then sort of see where it goes. And if there are things you want to bring to their attention or try to put a marker down for the library's place in the bond, we can put our heads together about how to do that.
For the 15th meeting?
Yes. Well, after the meeting on the 15th, which is the work session. Yeah.
Okay.
So no decisions have been made about what's going into the bond. But as I mentioned, I'm a little bit concerned that 2 months from now won't allow the board to have input if they want it.
And that's why I put it on the agenda. So let's move to this talk about branch libraries. And Catherine has done some research, I think, about this and has some information. Catherine, is there things you want to say?
Yes, and I know it's been a long meeting and I'm going to be real short here, but I want to echo what Michelle has just said. Lois and I have looked into this a little bit. And you heard the public testimony from Jim Shepke earlier in the meeting today. So the city's moving really quickly towards starting to gather public input about bond priorities. And they've got a short list right now that includes a number of tentative improvements or new projects, and the library branches are not on that list. In June, the lab prioritized branch libraries or co-location for consideration by the steering committee for the library strategic plan. That plan has been put on pause because we no longer have a city librarian. However, there are strong city policies in both the immediate short-term city strategic plan for the next 5 years, as well as that longer-term, our Salem plan hasn't been finalized, but both of those plans have strong policies about branch libraries in them. And that's what I think we can lean on. This is our chance to advocate for and make some real input on this. And we're not going to have another chance to do this for the next 10 years. If we want some branches, this is the time to do this. These are going to be all the infrastructure plans for the most likely for the next 10 years for this city. So we do have a proposed action item tonight, but let's open this for any discussion or questions people might have before we get there.
Is the city, when they hear the idea, are they going to think about building something, or can we direct them in using available space? As in the things that we saw in Eugene, or the places we saw in Eugene with storefronts.
Michelle did you have a point of order or something to say, Michelle?
Just a comment, thank you, Chair Stark and board members. The bond will be for capital improvements. Bonds generally can be used for building things, but not people. Levies can be used for people, not structures. So there are two different concepts. The bond will pay for things if it passes. And then, but separate and apart from that, the board does have authority, as we just talked about, to make recommendations about the use of space. Thank you.
Steve?
If we decide we want to recommend branches, how specific do we need to get about siting or cost. Would it be helpful to say we want 2 or 3 and where we want them? And then do we have to say, well, figure out $50 million or so? I don't know what the next step is really.
Catherine?
We can be as general or as specific as we want to be in an emotion that we might want to make that would enable us to give testimony on this topic. I think it pays to be specific. If this issue gets into a bond, to be specific would help generate votes for the bond. If people know what they're voting on, might result in a branch in their neighborhood. And most specifically, the northeast part of the city is the part of the city that has historically, through several surveys and other sources, been identified as the area most in need of a branch, but also a lot of folks think that a branch is needed in the south. So I think it would be good personally to be that specific anyway, the northeast and the south or the southeast. We don't need to attach a dollar value to it, but in conversation with Jim Shepke, who's very knowledgeable about these things, he thinks that build 2 new buildings could be built for about $10 million. And that's about 3% of the total budget for this bond. So we don't have to provide those numbers because that's really the city's job to do. But I think the location of the potential sites would be important to include in it.
And we have talked in this meeting before about the need for branch libraries, and we've actually voted it as one of the priorities. So I think we're in agreement about that. And I think this really is our opportunity to have some input at a primary time. So I think we could pass a motion tonight about that and then give input as soon as we can and as many times as we can. And it has been talked over and over again about the Northeast area being underserved, and it is an equity issue because that's a very needed an area that needs some service.
Mm-hmm.
So, any other questions or comments? Michelle.
I'm sorry to be your frequent flyer tonight. As you mentioned, equity, that could be a request to Kim for staff to gather and summarize data related to library usage, demographics, etc. That would be an appropriate item under SRC Chapter 2.
Okay. All right. Let's move, if we're done with that, we're almost done with the meeting. Woo, hold on. Okay, action items. We have approval of the 2022 calendar, and I think Clarissa has a screenshot of, whoops, Steve?
Are we going to do a motion regarding the branches?
Yes. Well, does somebody have a motion about the branches?
I move that we strongly suggest, I don't know the language, strongly suggest that the city include funding for branch libraries in the Northeast and South for underserved city patrons.
Catherine.
Can I make a friendly amendment?
Certainly.
That instead of suggest, we use the word recommend, strongly recommends.
Yeah, that's fine.
When
When you say south, do you mean southeast?
I would,
I mean, because we're talking like wards and income disparity issues and whatever. And I think southeast has more of the demographics that more match our equity concerns than south. But you know,
right.
yeah.
Well, I agree with that. Steve, would that be all right to say southeast?
Sure. If we're just gonna, you could also do north, east, and south. I mean, we have one in west. So if you wanted to just, do it in a sense cleanly, you have the central, and then you'd have, all four. But I'm fine with south. The southeast, would have more need. But south is also has expanded a lot. There are a lot of apartments out there. So, but it's a little bit of what do we think voters will vote for, and because it'll be all a package. It won't be people just voting for if it gets in there. Well, and maybe having it just say south might be better voting wise. I don't know. So
that makes sense. What would you think about saying northeast and south/southeast?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I accept your friendly. Was that friendly? Wait a second.
That was friendly. That was very friendly.
Okay.
Okay. So did anybody write that down? So Steve moved. Wait, we need a second. Is there a second? Francine has provided a second. So the motion is, I move that the Salem Library Advisory Board strongly recommend branch libraries. Say it again, Steve.
Well, you could say inclusion of branch libraries in the bond issue, or branch libraries in northeast, south/southeast in the bond issue.
Okay.
Is that somebody getting?
I think that's great. All right. Somebody wrote it down. I didn't. Catherine did. Well, so we're ready to vote. All in favor of this motion, please say yes or indicate by a thumbs up. It's unanimous already. Okay. Excellent. We will be following this. We will possibly even speak or whatever we have to do at the November 15th work session. And go branch library. All right.
Is it okay for someone to get back to Jim Shepke to let him know that we're taking this action, or I don't know what's proper? I mean, it would be nice for
listening.
What?
I'll let him know.
Michelle?
And
So, I'm sorry, Catherine, go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, so Lois and I will advocate, and of course, all the members of the board are free and welcome to advocate as well if you would like. But yeah, as Michelle said, November, December, early on is best, better than later.
So
also, I'm sorry, Michelle, go ahead.
I'm sure that you'll frame it in terms of our what's in the Salem Code that gives us the authority to be in the unique position to have our recommendation be legitimized.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Michelle?
Point of order on the vote that was just taken. Did we get a vote from all of the members of the board? Clarissa, was there anybody missing?
I didn't get a motion from Bill.
Is
Oh.
Kaylin here?
Callan?
Callan had to leave and so did Sarah. They had to leave early. Bill, did you vote? Actually, I didn't say any opposed because I thought it was unanimous.
No, Bill?
So my recommendation is that we mark him as absent for purposes of this vote.
Okay, good idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So we will let Jim know. Good thought, Steve. We will let Jim know what we decided. We will proceed from here. Miscellaneous board items. Happy holidays, because I won't see you till January 2022. Celebrate however you celebrate. Find some joy. Don't think about the library advisory board. I will, but you don't have to. Well, you can. Kim.
Did we do the calendar for next?
Oh,
year?
yes, calendar. Okay, yeah. Let's approve the calendar.
Give me one moment. I'm going to share my screen again.
Okay, thanks, Clarissa. Okay, there you see the dates for the board meetings for 2022. This is just kind of a, like a housekeeping item that we have to approve this. So do I hear a motion to approve the 2022 calendar?
I move that we accept the calendar as stated here.
Second.
Okay, we got a second. All in favor, say aye or do a thumbs up.
Aye.
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 Did we get everybody? Catherine, did you vote?
Thumbs up.
Okay. I guess Bill is still somewhere. Okay. Anything else for the good of the order?
I just want to really thank Michelle for your participation. Really appreciate your help in knowing how to do things properly and keeping us on the straight and narrow. And appreciate the presentation. And you're a part of us. So really glad you're here.
Thank you.
Anything? Oh, what happened?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Oh, something came. I am not even on the screen anymore.
Yes, you are.
We see you. You
Well,
exist. You still
I don't
exist.
see you. So I something says scheduling made easy. Well, so I'm going to adjourn the meeting. Have fun.